Welcome, influencers. Welcome to the Harun Rabbani Show. I am your host, Harun Rabbani, and today we're going to examine an area that a lot of people struggle in, and that is winning over customers. Not just any old customers, but customers who pay very well. And today we have a lead generation expert who I've been watching over the years, who's transforming the lives of thousands of coaches. This is even, the ones that I've witnessed. So, welcome to the Harun Rabbani Show. Okay, so our guest today has been working with lots of businesses over 2 decades, but in the last few years has been focusing on coaches because these are people who are making a difference to many other people's lives. The thing is with a lot of coaches is most of them are struggling winning over high-paying customers. In fact, a lot of them give away the services for free. So if that's you, you better join us and let's bring him on. Welcome, Leon Streete. Leon, thank you for joining the Harun Rabbani Show. Really lovely interviewing you because you interviewed me many years back.
Yeah.
And what I loved about watching your journey over the last few years is how honed in you are. You know exactly. You're like a laser gun. You know who you're targeting, and I'm like sitting back in awe, thinking, "Wow, how the hell is he doing it?" So, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
We're gonna now. This is relevant to everybody watching, especially if they want to be an influencer. But who are the people that you specifically work with that you're helping, who are coming to you?
Sure. So specifically, the niche that I help is coaches. So you're talking business coaches, life coaches, transformation, executive career, property coaches, just coaches in that professional realm. The principles and everything that I speak about when it comes to market, though, are applicable to any small business or large business because I focus on principles rather than fly-by-night tactics that, some new technology, some new app, nothing like that. And as we dig into this interview, I'm sure it will reveal itself.
So why specifically coaches? I mean, you got all this bunch of people you can choose from. Why specifically coaches?
So what I realize is that because I act as a lead generation coach, when I'm speaking to a fellow coach, they understand the importance and the benefits of being coached by somebody. It's almost like if you take the analogy of Usain Bolt, I mean, he's known as the world record holder for the 100 meters and the 200 meters, but his coach, Glenn Mills, was the person that could see the angles. And just to kind of break that down even more, there's this famous film that I love to re-quote, which is Carlito's Way, Al Pacino film, real classic film. And in the film, he has this quote that says, "When you can't see the angles no more, you're in trouble, baby." And so as a coach, you see the angles, or rather I see the angles of my clients where the opportunities lie, where they're potentially going wrong and how they can fix and accelerate where they're going. And so for me, when I'm speaking to a coach, I don't have to educate them up to the value of what it means to have a coach. Whereas if you speak, and look, I'm being very generalistic here, but most small businesses, if you speak to them about delivering some type of coaching service, that's what they look at it as, a service. They don't see the real tangible value. And therefore they'll look at it as a service they can just pay for and that's it. Whereas the reality is when you're coaching somebody, the value can be exponential. And so that's why I focus on coaches.
You know what's interesting is that I've been in martial arts for many years. I don't compete anymore. Mm-hmm. My own instructor, my coach, Vince, great trainer. When he's coaching and training, it's not like he's giving anything new that I've not heard before. Yeah. But I'll tell you where I found him most useful. I fought in the British Kickboxing Champions, the British mm-hmm. Championship. I didn't win this one. Yeah. The finals after fighting several rounds. And after round one, I nearly broke my toe on the guy's ribs. Wow. And he winded me so badly. We were actually equal. I was beating him. He was beating me. But I was winded so badly. I had a hairline fracture on my ribs.
Wow.
And in that moment, my brain was shutting off. But the only person's voice I could hear out of thousands of people in Crystal Palace was my coach's. And had it not been for that, this guy would have wiped me clean. He was the world champion, by the way, that I nearly beat. Yeah. So literally, it was because of my coach's guidance and his voice. It's not like he was teaching me new techniques. He was reminding me who I am, why I'm there. And then it was literally in the last 10 seconds, the guy, this opponent and I, struck each other at the same time. He literally won by that one technique, that one point, because the referee saw that and not my hand. And I think, to me, that's where the coach is most valuable. Not just what they say, It's actually when they say it.
Absolutely. And this is where I say, when you can't see the angles no more, whereas the coach, as you said rightly, they see the angles and they act as either they bring something fresh to you or they simply remind you of what you already know. And for me, it's just being able to see that and then, you know, explain it to somebody, take them through it and for them to understand. Because, you know, it's like having a textbook at school. You can explain stuff till the cows come home and you're blue in the face. But it's at the point of transformation when a person rather who you're coaching understands it and the penny drops and they move from that point A to point B, and it's like the light bulb moment. It's like, and for me, that's awesome. And I love it no matter the size of client that I'm working with. It's just great.
Now you can tell, I can tell by how happy you are. You love your work.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about coaches struggling. What are the real struggles that coaches facing that maybe they don't want to admit to? What do you find?
So the real struggle is that most people are not earning as much as they'd like to. They're not earning as much as they believe people think of them. And the reality of the situation is, and look, I don't have the hard, cold facts or the statistics, but just based on my experience, I've probably come across 500 plus coaches in the past 3 years who I've trained directly. And I would probably say about 95% of them probably earn less than 30,000 a year. And the problem with this is that they're not focused on one thing in their business. And the one thing is getting their message right by understanding what the problem is of their target audience, their ideal or perfect customer. Because the reality is that to get to 100,000 is a lot easier than most people think. But because they hear so many mixed messages and people say, jump onto this technology, jump onto that platform, and there's so much overwhelm and noise, it kind of detracts away from your own confidence just to go solidly in one direction and just deliver. And because of that, I just see so many coaches who are failing. And look, I'm not picking on anybody here. I'm just calling it what it is, because I believe that most coaches should actually be at this 100,000 mark and beyond. And the reason why I kind of think of it as a mark that most people can get to is because it's not a mark where you're overwhelmed with too many customers or too much commitment, but it's actually a mark that most people are worthy of, but they're blocked because they can't see the steps clear. And it's a lot simpler than most people think.
So you mentioned there's a lot of coaches, and in my eyes, from what I can see, it's like somebody does a course, let's call it an NLP course. And then all of a sudden they're a life coach and certified, and they might be very young, very often, or they might be very old. And it's almost like a swear word in some people's ears in terms of oh, you're just a life coach. And the question is, why the heck do so many people, and I know this might not be exactly what we need to talk about, I think it needs to be addressed. Why are so many people jumping into coaching when there is such a saturation in the market?
Cool. So here's my perspective, and like I said, I've dealt with a lot of
that's all I want.
over a few years. So here we go. So you get a lot of people, rightly so, doing things like NLP courses, which will cost them £1,500 to, like, I don't know, £3,500, £4,000, some cases, I believe. So they'll see this as like, wow, when I'm NLP, this will open up another tangent of place to explore in a moment, but I'll explain. So people will do this course, they'll get NLP qualified, and they'll think, great, I've got this skill set. But most people who are doing NLP, most do it because they're trying to fix themselves. And I've seen this where people they've come across NLP, they've fixed themselves, and they're like, wow, I learned these great set of tools, which is great. And then they think, I'm going to go and help somebody else now because I've had such a great transformation and such a great experience. I want more people to experience what I've gone through because they're so clear, and the pain that they went through, whatever challenge they overcome, they don't want other people to be in it. And that's why the market has somewhat become saturated, but not. Because here's the other thing. It's saturated with people who don't understand their message. I'm going to sound like a broken record, because what you'll then see is, as an example, let's say this person's on LinkedIn. They'll put as their job description, NLP coach or life coach, like you just rightly said. But what does that mean? NLP coach or life coach? What does it mean to their end target audience, their niche. What does it mean to them? It means nothing. And this is the problem. And this is why I keep coming back to a message. So if you are NLP or a life coach, please explain what you do, not the job role. So an example would be, I help business owners aged 30 to 50, and I'll use me. I'll rephrase this.
Use yourself.
I'll use myself. I help coaches aged 30 to 60 who want to generate more leads consistently because they're stuck with technology, overwhelmed with marketing strategy, and they just need something to work. Yeah. So if you think about that for a second, so what is the life coach and NLP doing? Yeah. And who are they helping? Because NLP coach, life coach, no wonder the market's saturated, because nobody knows what their message is. They don't understand who they help and who that niche is. And the minute you switch it to, I help XYZ overcome this challenge, you're like in that top 1% instantly, because most people, they don't know their niche. And it's that simple.
So you basically eradicated most of your competition. That's what you're saying.
It's in a heartbeat. And the reality is, because most people don't spend enough time getting to know who their target audience are, and I think they do. They'll look online and I think, great, 15 minutes later, I know who I help. Yeah, they've done no research. And the reality is, like, look, within 4 hours, you could do every bit of research you need to know for the next 18 months for you to have 100,000 plus business, maybe even 250,000. Yeah. Because
wow. I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah, go for it.
4 hours?
Yeah,
really?
4 hours. Yeah. Because, and I'm being very specific here with the research guidance that I give to all my clients. And that's it, seriously. Because most people overthink it. But within 4 hours, you should have enough information from the marketplace to go out and serve them in the best possible way.
So when we go to a restaurant to eat, I mean, you and I have a restaurant, but when we go to a restaurant to eat, we assume the food is going to be good. I can cook, and I'm sure you can cook as well. I think you can, actually. I've seen you post some pictures of food. Somebody cooked that food.
Yeah.
So when we go to a restaurant, the assumption is the food is going to be good. What we're actually paying for is the convenience, and we're paying for the ambience, especially if it's an expensive restaurant.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to coaching or any kind of work, let's just focus on coaching. How do you know your coaches, the people you're helping generate leads, are any good? Why, how do you know? Why are you helping anybody and everybody? Or do you?
No, I don't help anybody and everybody. I like established coaches with customers and testimonials. Yeah. Because I do have startup coaches who reach out to me, and what is the difference between those who have no established business and no testimonials and the ones that I do help compared to the ones that I just kind of say no? The difference is attitude and the hunger. Yeah. And it comes down to character. What has that person demonstrated to me as I've communicated back and forth with them, whether it's on messages or on a phone call? And for me, that's the key thing. You go into a restaurant and you, for instance, a waiter walks up to you. Hey, thank you for coming to the restaurant. How many seats are you looking for? How many in your party? And you'll say, and then they'll say, come this way. And, they'll have that smile on their face, and, they're showing really good rapport with you. The character's really good. They sit you down and then they kind of explain what the special is of the day. And I'm sticking with this restaurant theme for the moment. And, they make you feel really good. And they ask you for what drinks you want. And they say, you know what, I'm going to bring over some peanuts or some, just some little knick-knack snacks you can just start with. Don't worry, this part's on the house. I want to make sure you have the best possible. So that's one example. Yeah. But then think about the other waiter or waitress. They, you walk into this restaurant, they look at you, they're not really talking, and you have to prompt them, could we have a table, please, for 6? And so it's constantly you pushing. They sit you down. They don't make you feel overly welcome. They don't explain what the main dish of the day is or whatever.
You're talking about McDonald's, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. But the difference is you see their character, and you see that actually they're only there for themselves to get paid. That's the difference with coaches who reach out to me. And that's why most of the time I only work with established, because the established people, I've already seen whether they've got testimonials, that they do a good job. And that's what I look for. The startups and the people who don't have that, it's always based on character. The same way that I employ people, actually, I only work with people based on their character and how I suppose, relate to them through the energy that they give off. And that's a big thing for me. And I'm definitely one of those types of people that I can spot people and the kind of energy they resonate, and give off. That's really a key thing for me, actually.
And I think what's interesting, you've just said that, is when you're working with a certain type of person, so in a particular niche,
Yeah.
certain kind of patterns people hold,
Yeah.
and they'll stand out. And there's certain patterns that you
Absolutely.
don't want to work with, that you'll spot as well. So I've found that a lot of coaches or a lot of specialists, they're very good at technical stuff. So they might be good at coaching.
Yeah.
They might be good at, I know one of your coaches, a friend of mine, she does Ayurveda, and
Yeah.
she keeps going on about you. I'm sick and tired of her.
Good, good. Well
I
done.
already get plenty of posts about you on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. Now she's going on about you as well. Joking aside, of course. So I forgot what my question's going to be now.
She had the same problem as well, though. Her message was wrong.
So they're technically very good. What is it that they're really struggling with? I mean, operationally, they're very good at what they do.
Okay. Yeah.
Which aspect? Is it the selling? Is it the marketing? What is it?
It's a good point, actually. Most coaches who are, worth their weight in gold and can deliver a good service are good exactly what they do, the coaching element, delivering the service. And they're in this business and they know intuitively that they can help. Whoever is in front of them has come to them with that challenge that they're the best at fixing. They can help. They just know it. Even before, a person fully commits, they know they can help them. And just like the lady you mentioned a moment ago, when she reached out to me, I knew instantly. It was like, I've been waiting for you to reach out to me because, we were connected. And I said, look, it just takes for you to say, yes, I'm committed and we're going to move forward. And the reality of the case is that most people fail or fall short on marketing and sales, which are the two things that you picked up on. And the reason why they fail in those two areas is it's what we spoke about in the green room before the interview, actually. They seem to think marketing and sales is separate to what they do. Yeah. So their service, they think, yes, I'm amazing at delivering this particular program, but I'm no good at marketing, I'm no good at sales, and I'm really poor, and it just never works, and blah blah blah. And so they start off, and this, Harun, I know you're really cool at like mindset and stuff. They're already putting the negative into, I can't do this, and marketing isn't for me, and blah blah. And so it's never going to work, of course, because they've already started off on a negative. But here's the reality, and this is something, as I said, we spoke about earlier. This is how I see marketing and sales, and I believe marketing is your duty as a business owner. As a coach, it's paramount because you're the people that I serve, but it's your duty. And I'm going to explain why. So let's picture this for a moment. There's a person and we're on the fringes of the desert. And let's say we're by the pyramids of Giza. Yeah, it's a very hot and humid country. And we're on the edge. And you see somebody, on the edge of the desert. So behind you, the pyramids, and in front of you is this person, and they're dying of thirst. It's really hot. It's like 40 degrees, let's say. And you have a bottle of water in your hands right now. It's ice cold. It'd be perfect for this person dying of thirst. They haven't drunk in like, let's say 2 days. Yeah. And this water is going to help them. So you see them in front of you and you think, I'm really great at giving people water. Yeah, I know intuitively I'm great at giving people water, and I know what it does when I give them this water. And you're looking at this person and you're thinking like, this is really going to help them. Now the time comes for you to step across the road and walk up to this person and say, look, I've got the perfect solution to what you have as a problem right here. Yeah. And the thing is, when people think about marketing and sales, they don't see it as their duty to help a person who has a problem that they can fix. So imagine this, you walk up to the person with the water and you think, you know what, I'm going to keep walking past this person because I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. I'm not sure if they're going to reject me. I'm not sure actually if they're going to think I'm pushy by giving them the water and think I'm trying to sell them the water. I don't want people to think I'm sleazy, even though I know it's going to. And so they walk on by and leave that person to continue to suffer until the point of, whatever happens. In
Following day, they'll die. 3 days.
Exactly. Yeah. So now let's think about this in business. Most coaches and most business owners can help people solve a big problem. Yeah. Doesn't matter whether you think it's big or not. You can help people solve a big problem because in your niche's eyes, it's a big problem to them. But most people don't do the marketing, don't spread the message, and don't close people, i.e. sell them something, because of the what ifs, yeah, the negative thoughts, the imposter syndrome. They let that take precedence over their ability to just go and help.
Yeah.
And this is why I believe if people actually looked at marketing as their duty, then they could go on and deliver the service that will help the person. But what they do is disconnect marketing and sales from their ability to go and deliver that great service they can do. Whereas actually, if they connected and realized that actually it's their duty to spread the message, it's their duty to sell somebody onto their service or program, why would they hold back, and why would they let those things get in the way? They wouldn't.
And you know, the interesting thing is, Leon, we've known each other a few years now, and it's so important what you just said there, because just because the person doesn't look like they're thirsty, so you're dealing with a coach, for example, most people have a lot of pride. I come across plenty like that. Behind them, they're actually, some of them very often literally dying.
Yeah.
So it could be somebody who's an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And they look like they've got a team, they look like they've got a sale, but say somebody's relationship coach or something, but their marriage is falling to bits.
Yeah.
And deep inside they're empty. And people take their own life because of that. And I know it sounds very extreme. It's not. I see it again and again. So totally with you on that one, brother. So in terms of the word marketing, let's stay on that now. Let's stay on that. In terms of the word marketing, in terms of the word business, particularly people who are coaches, who are doing stuff which is, say, more spiritual orientated in their mind, a lot of them see those words as not just, they don't do that. It's almost like so negative. They almost see it as a dirty word.
Yeah.
You know, so people think salespeople, for example, is like a door-to-door salesperson selling dodgy insurance or something. Or marketing is, oh, I don't do advertising. That's for Coca-Cola to do.
Of course.
How the heck do they get to grips with themselves and wake the hell up, besides what we've just talked about?
So here's the way I see things now. People start to create this kind of imaginary bubble around them. And I'll stick to, let's just call it like spiritual coaching, or, like life coaching with a more holistic, authentic, kind of airy fairy. And I don't mind how people take it. I just want to stick with this theme, because I've got a big point around this. And people start to create this kind of bubble that I'm going to attract the people to me. They're just going to come to me. There's going to be like this connection, deeper sense of the universe where we're all connected, but they're going to know. But what they fail to realize is that, yes, we're all connected. And I can get spiritual about the way that I think as well. We're all spirits in this vessel. But the reality is that this mind and this body also sit between the spirit. Yeah. And the mind, the ego, is the thing that, or the reason why a lot of people just won't reach out to you, because you need to get past this. How do you get past this? Your message and your marketing. So now let me get to my point. Let's think about people like Deepak Chopra. Let's look at Oprah Winfrey. Let's look at people like Mujiji. Yeah. So these are people I'm aware of. Yeah. These people could be classed as spiritual. They have, this intuitive connection. Let's look at Mother Teresa. Yeah. Each one of them is worth millions. When Mother Teresa died, she had millions in the bank. Yeah. But people wouldn't think or consider that right now. Yeah. They wouldn't associate that with these people. So the reality is that, yes, they had a vision. Yes, they had a dream. But the reality is that they were brave and courageous enough to spread that message, to use marketing as their megaphone, turned up the volume. And what happened was they had people who came across that message and started to own the message as their own. Just like Martin Luther King, yeah, he had a dream. But the difference is that these people allowed their dream to be passed on to other people, the followers, who then made it their own dream. And so then the megaphone, effectively, the volume was amplified. And this is the point. That is marketing. So these people who say, I don't really want to do the marketing, or that's not really for me. Look, I'm going to call it what it is. It's bullshit. Because if you know somebody has a problem, why wouldn't you stand on the rooftop saying, look, I'm here to help you, that particular niche, not everybody, but that niche. And then eventually that niche will spread into another niche, another, and then you'll get into a place where you've just exploded in a market. Yeah. And if you explode in a market like the likes of Oprah Winfrey, you know, what Steve Jobs did in technology, Bill Gates, blah, blah, blah. And I know I've gone into more technology side of things, but the point I'm getting to is that at the end of the day, it all started with their message and their courageous and I would say willingness to go and spread the message. And I think, you know, the reality is that if you're in that place where you are that type of coach, it's still your duty. It doesn't matter.
So when does confidence come in? So somebody say, for example, they're good technically at what they do.
Yeah.
And you as a coach, how do you help them to develop that confidence to go and do it in a very much more, let's call it business-like, more, forget business-like, let's say in a streamlined way? What is it that you do with them?
It's a good question. What I do is teach them what they already know. Just like you said earlier with your coach, Harun, kick his ass.
Yeah.
So now in reality, so here's what I get people to do. I always start back at the message, because when people truly understand what their message is, yes, they're very confident to share it. So I can use the example of the lady you mentioned earlier, because she's a very open and she's an advocate for me now, Dr. Ashish Paul.
Dr. Ashish Paul, yeah. She's a doctor, folks.
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly. And she deals in Ayurvedic medicine, which is Eastern medicine. It's herbs, it's more natural. There's an essence of spiritual healing there. You know, she's a doctor. You know, you speak to her and you think, doctor, great. You know, you put her on that pedestal, as we do in the Western world. She's got the DR initials before her name. But the reality is that Ayurveda compared to Western medicine are like poles apart. But the reality is that they also have proven results. Now, to give you an example, is that because she was so immersed in this kind of, this way of healing, the language, the vocabulary of a doctor, what she failed to realize is that her understanding and what she knew of the vocabulary of being a doctor wasn't the message or the vocabulary of what her niche understood it to be. There's a massive disconnect. And so what happens is people are really great at delivering their service and they're in their bubble. But what they don't do, and this is the research part I was telling you about earlier, they don't take off their shoes, step to the right, and then put the shoes on of their target audience and really immerse themselves into who their target audience are. What are their challenges? What are their problems? What type of language or ways does that problem show up in their life? What do they know it as? What is the vocabulary? And the thing is, when you really start to immerse yourself into what your niche are currently experiencing and going through, the confidence comes out of like really just like, that's it. That's the missing thing. That's why I didn't get marketing before. And the reason I didn't get it is because they didn't dig deep enough on the people that they actually helped. Because marketing isn't kind of like wizardry. It isn't trickery. It's like, how deep into your customers' like psychology, heart, spirit do you want to go? Because the more you go into it, the more you trigger emotion. Emotion is what gets people to buy. The more you have emotion in your message, the more successful your marketing is. See, people think it is a technical, logical art, and it's not. It's the art of emotion. That's what marketing is in its essence. But most people, as I say, they know it as, you know, what are the leads? What are the prospects? What are the conversions? How many clients do we have? But what they don't realize is the emotion is what triggers every step of that.
And it's without emotion, people don't make a decision. Exactly. So you have to trigger the emotion. So in essence, just translating what you said into this very basic lay person terms is speak the language of your customer or your client, not rather than your language. So speak the language to bring them to this side of the water, across the, help them cross the bridge, and then guide them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, and I'll add just a little bit, more to that. But in essence, it starts with that point, because then what I experience with my clients is when they understand their message, they're more willing to go and put, their message out, start marketing. And then the other thing is, go and help somebody and ask for a testimonial. Ask for a testimonial. Ask for a testimonial. Here's a real great tip your audience take away. Ask for a testimonial the minute somebody says, yes, I want to be on your program. And then simply say to them, what made you decide to join the program? This is after they've signed, they've paid their deposit.
So they haven't even done the stuff yet.
They haven't even done anything. Tell me why you chose to go ahead with me. Now they're giving you a testimonial about their reasons. And those reasons are the very things that the people who aren't your customers yet
need to
are
hear.
actually thinking and want to hear to push them over the line. And then when your customers are in your program and you're delivering, get another testimonial. How are you finding it so far? What's the experience like? And then when you've got to a real tangible result, because you may continually, coach this person, ask them for another. And that's where most people miss out. They think they have to wait for some type of result. Yeah. And they're waiting and waiting and waiting. Before you know it, maybe the relationship's kind of fizzled out, or the energy's not as great, but you've done a good job, but you don't feel compelled to ask for a testimonial. And you're thinking, what if that? And the reality is, if you're doing that and you're communicating along the way, people will love what's going on, and they'll be, more than willing to do it, just like Ashish has been for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so this is a very interesting point that a lot of people, I'm getting that a lot of people are afraid to ask in case they hear something they don't want to hear.
Yes.
But isn't that a great time to say, okay, so this is not working for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can do something different, or do it slightly different.
You know what? One of the greatest things that I would say that I've enjoyed about my journey when things aren't going right is just for my ability just to say to somebody, it's not working, for me to reach out to them and say, look, I apologize, this hasn't worked, or look, this is the reality of the situation, but here's what I'm willing to do. I understand it's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. And throughout my years, I'm not just talking as I've focused in the past 4 years as a marketing coach, but even when I was running my marketing agency before that, is just reaching out to people, even when the moment was pressured and it probably wasn't the best time to, bring something up, but it was in the sense of bringing it up just to kind of get it out in the air. And I think that's the biggest thing that people, can really get out of what they do, because there is a time to hear feedback. There is a time when things aren't going well. And I've had people who've said to me, and they've stayed a customer because they respected the fact that I answered, the toughest questions, or I responded to probably not being in the best position, but saying, look, here's what it is, and I'm willing just to work it right the way through. And people have, they've said to me is that I've had similar situations with other companies in the past or other coaches, and they've just fizzled away. And they're like, but no, you kind of step up and you just take it and put it on your shoulders and deal with it. I'm like, cool. Because the reality is that if we can learn about ourselves in the toughest of times, we'll be prepared for when it really gets tough, because a lot of the time it's all in our heads. We're not going to die from it. Yes, reputation is important, but as long as you are somebody who delivers with integrity, your reputation will always take care of itself.
Yeah, and customers actually prefer vulnerability and honesty over somebody who pretends they're doing well. Now, I put myself into the mindset of a coach, say, for example, who's just started off. So I've got a few customers. The training and education material out there, well, we know there's a plethora of that. So if I'm marketing, what do I do? Podcasting? Do I do coaching? Sorry, do I do articles? Do I do blogs? Do I do Twitter? Do I do other social?
So where
the hell do we start?
Here's where you start, and this is really important. You go to my website and you hire me as your coach. Yeah.
I can see you're a bit shy.
Yeah, no, I'm being serious now. The best way to learn is to find a mentor. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to go out and get a coach. Find a mentor, somebody you can learn from, either distance learning, get their book like you see behind me right here. Go onto their YouTube channel or something. Just find a person. Yeah. Make sure that there's somebody who has testimonials like me. They have case studies like me. And so that way you can trust in the training that they do deliver, the training they give away. Now, I mean, I do training every week. We do a Whitewood Wednesday training. It goes out free on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. What you're looking for is to be able to follow somebody, because what happens is, you rightly said, do you do podcasting, blogging, this, that, and the other? And look, I'm going to give you one tactic, because that's what it is. It's a tactic. It's not the strategy. The strategy always starts with the message and the research and knowing your niche. But I'll give you one tactic that somebody can use right now. Today I've released a new LinkedIn guide. How coaches can use LinkedIn to gain more clients consistently. It's freely available, and I'm sure you can put the link in your show notes. Now, using this tactic is very straightforward. Connect with people who are in your niche, as many as possible. So if you're new to LinkedIn, as an example, connect with 1,000. If you're in the B2B space, that is. If you're in the kind of B2C space, Facebook's going to be your best friend. But in the B2B space, connect with as many people as possible, yeah, in your niche, not just random, in your niche. So that means you've got to understand who your niche is, first of all. Get up to like 2,000 to 5,000. Yeah. As you grow that niche, message people. Send them a message, an instant message on LinkedIn. Yeah. Introduce yourself, just like you were going on a date. Yeah. So when you go on a date, you say, hey, tell me about yourself. So you listen to them. You ask them questions about them. Tell me what you're currently experiencing with, your life, with your business, whatever type of coach you are, your career, executive leadership, whatever. Yeah. Ask them about them. People love to speak about themselves, and especially when a person is asking and really digging and getting to know them. Yeah. When you get to know them and the person starts to then break down what their biggest challenges are and what they're currently facing, and you know that you can help them solve that, simply say to them, I really have enjoyed speaking with you. It appears, or it seems like I can really help you. How about we jump on a quick call, either on Skype or Zoom, yeah? And I can just give you a few more pointers as to what you can do to fix that challenge that you're currently experiencing. You get people onto a call, you use a sales script, the kind of sales script we give our clients, and within 4 questions, you can take them from being a message on LinkedIn to being a client paying you anything from 3 to 5 to 10,000 pounds, guaranteed.
Wow, it's
you
amazing.
will have to connect with a lot of people, but what kind of results could you expect if you did that and you spent 2 hours a day for the next year on LinkedIn? I reckon about 150 to 200,000.
Wow, that's a big claim, and presumably that's what your clients get. So, okay, there's a lot going through my head, and 1,001 question, and I know we're short of time and so on. So let's just go dig slightly more deeper. So they go onto LinkedIn, they found a whole bunch of people. Why should they use a script? Why can't they just have a normal conversation?
Because a script equals consistency. Imagine you're feeling bad one day, depressed, cash flow isn't going well. How do you think you're going to respond to messages compared to a day where you're on top form, excited, feel like you can help the world? That's why. Consistency.
Won't people sound scripted? I mean, I know the answers to that, but I want to hear yours. I mean, won't people sound scripted?
No, the reality is that, all right, this is another analogy I love to use. Think about some of the best films you have ever watched, the best films, yeah, where you are drawn in emotionally to the characters of the film, even to the point where maybe you've got a tear in your eye, or, just ultra excitement, thrill, yeah. Those people learnt their lines with a script. They own the script. They got to know the script to the point where, yes, part of it was a script and the rest was just their character, their energy and delivery. That's what you will develop with your own script.
And I was just thinking Carlito's Way and Al Pacino, people like Robert De Niro, Heat and all that. They're scripted, but it's the emotions. Beautiful, fabulous. Leon, you're a great influencer, which is really what I love hearing from. And you develop influencers in essence, particularly in the coaching industry.
Thank you.
What is your number one big why? What drives you?
My big why is, and it took time. It wasn't something that kind of stumbled across me, but my big why is to help over 1 million coaches to harness and master the art of marketing, because I believe too many struggle for the reasons that they think it's something more than, actually just helping people. And the more people that just commit to, being courageous about helping those people who need their help, showing up and delivering, that's my big why. Because look, I have children. I have a son who's 11, my daughter's 5, and I have a beautiful girlfriend. These are people who are close to me and my family I'm very passionate about. But my big why, and it's almost like my life's work, is to help coaches to be a success. And that's why I do what I do. And it's the thing that I mentioned earlier. It's just when I see that look on their face, the light bulb, and then they go on, continue to implement. It's like amazing. And I'll give you one very quick story as we close out. I had a coach who recently contacted me, and it was a referral from a multi-7-figure client of mine. And, which is why it's always great to have great clients. I refer the good ones. But this guy was a millionaire twice, but lost it twice, and came to me in a panic, a state, a flap, and he's looking for help, and we was on the call, and then he invited his VA on the call, and he was like, what can we do? Like you said earlier, blogging, can we do this? Can we do that? He was just like in a panic. We just spent our last $30,000. He was from America. And I was like, oh man, this is like the worst situation for him, having known where he's come from. And then he's got some pressures with an ex-wife who's just took him for $500,000 and all the rest of it. His kids leave 10-hour flights away and all that. And he's coming to me for the answers. And so I say to him, here's the thing, I can help you, and I'm not going to put you on the normal programs that I do. I said, this is just going to be a quick 30-day, we're going to get things turned around. And he then said, right, what can we do? And I said, we just need to get really to a point where we understand what your message is, and that's why I said, like, I'm going to sound like a broken record. It doesn't matter the size of business or coach. And so we focus on the messages, really get that dialed in. And then I use my next thing. I start to get to people to think more resourceful. Tell me, who are the connections, the people around you? Who can you reach out to? Who can we attract in now that we got the message on point? So anyway, he starts digging. He says, oh, there's this guy down the road, very successful guy. I'm going to have a chat with him and just, take you up. So he speaks to this guy. Yeah. And so bearing in mind, this guy, when he come to me, he's on his last, I think, $6,000 on a credit card. He's already over $100,000 in debt. Yeah. Like, I don't know the exact figure, but I know it's over $100,000. And he then says, right, let's use this last $6,000, Leon, and run Facebook ads. He's like, I'm very confident. We got the message dialed in. And I said to him, look, I'm super confident, but I'm also super confident that you can waste every penny of that $6,000 just because you're in a place where you need the money now, and you can't use that money like it's nothing and just use it for testing. And I said, there's a big difference. And bearing in mind, this guy has run some successful campaigns in the past, been a millionaire twice. So anyway, I'm holding him off. And he's becoming aware of it as well. And I'm like, I just don't believe it's right for you to go ahead and use that last bit of money. Your wife, she's already, not in a great place, your kids. And I'm like, just use the money, just put food on the table at least. Don't worry about Facebook ads. So anyway, I said, just keep speaking to the people that and do a few other things. So anyway, he speaks to this person. Within 6 weeks, yeah, I'm going to jump to the result. Within 6 weeks, this guy has sold $570,000 worth of coaching, pulled in $50,000 cash himself for this person that he went and spoke to. This person has a $10 million plus business and made him his COO just because of how focused he was and clear on his message. He walked into that meeting with the guy, asked for commitment, walked into stability, and now he's in a place where he's probably going to close out within 12 months, probably about $3 million, and pick up $500,000 for himself. So This is the point that I want to get to, is that there is no one thing you can go do other than be clear on your message. Because once you're clear on your message, and like I said to you earlier when we were speaking in the green room, you'll always know where your destination is. And yes, you may have to veer off course because of obstacles and challenges, but the more focused you stay to that, the better opportunities will come your way to help you towards that destination.
Beautiful. So, I mean, for those, and I really implore those who are coaches who are really good at what you're good at your shit, guys, right? For you guys, whatever you're earning now, you're going to be earning something, right? Whatever you're earning, if you're moving, let's just say arguments that we do the average number, you said £30,000, and you get to 150,000, which is 120 grand.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid not to work with Leon. I'm just say it outright. I don't get commissions for any of this yet. I'm not looking for commissions, don't worry. So I really, really urge you. Leon, you've been absolutely marvelous. We won't go any further detail because it's a great information.
We could be here all day talking.
Yeah, I know. I love chatting with you. So I recommend people get in touch with you directly.
Thank you.
I think if you're I'm saying this to my audience, not because I'm trying to sell you anything like that. And I know I don't justify that, but I believe, they need you. And so if you feel that you're ready, and ready means talk to him, what's the best route for them to come to you?
Sure. The best route to speak to me, and I'll give you the web address, and, people can reach out to me. Go to www.businessownerelevation.com/EBC. So Echo Bravo Charlie. That will send you to an application form, and it will allow you to book in a call with me for free. And on that call, I'll help you map out a plan of what you need to do in order to take your business to that next level, no matter what size you are. I think the best thing you can do is just take that courageous step to speak to somebody. Like I said, if it's me, if it's somebody else, just find a mentor or a coach, because too often people are distracted, and they're taken in too many different ways. They're listening to too many people. You just got to find the one thing. There's probably a book behind me somewhere called The One Thing, which is a great book to read, by the way, if you haven't read it. Just all about focusing on the one thing, which is, the key thing for you. Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of the usual places.
Okay, so all of the usual places. I'll put all the links there. My strongest recommendation is if this conversation resonates with you, go directly to the website. I'll put the link on the show notes and description notes. You answered my question, I guess, which was going to be, what's one of your favorite books? And you've just said The One Thing, written by whom? I've got it on my Kindle, actually.
Gary Keller and Jay Papasan.
Okay, there you go. I'll put a link onto that as well. Leon, Streete, thank you so much for joining the Harun Rabbani Show. Really, it's been absolutely brilliant value. I love everything you said. Thank you so much, and we'll connect very soon. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonates with you, connect with Leon. The links to him are here in the show notes, in the description. And stop being selfish. Share this video out to as many of your coaching friends as you can. Because I tell you, I know thousands of coaches, of which most of them are struggling. And this man here, the guy you've just heard being interviewed, is changing lives at a pace. See you next week. Bye for now.